Hello, good evening. I just got myself a scarf because I'm so cold. I hope you can hear me and see me. And if not, let me know. So, this is the third live Q&A that I am having tonight, every Friday evening. While I'm in the Netherlands, I'm going to travel next week again. I'm not sure how many times I will go live, but I will try to do it more often because I like the format, as I said in my previous lives. And yeah, I'm just here to welcome you in. If you have any questions about awakening, healing, transformation, empowerment, the healing journey, psychology, and any other kind of personal growth topic, then you can just ask your questions and in the chat and I will answer them. And I will wait like 10 to 15 minutes if any questions come in, and if not, then I will close off. And if there come in questions, of course I will do my best to answer them. It is my intention to be here for a maximum of 1 hour today because I had already like 10 sessions today private during the day, so I'm good to go for an hour, and then I'm done. And then I'll close off and have some dinner. But yeah, I was just thinking that maybe already a little bit of a tradition to just start talking until someone comes in. I see one viewer, so if you have a question, or let me know who you are, where you're from, why you're here, maybe, or how you find my channel, or where you are on your healing journey, just share anything. I'm very happy to hear and to listen to you a little bit more. As I just said, I put on this very warm scarf because I'm very cold. I really don't like the cold. I'm really a summer person. That's why I travel so much, maybe. And yeah, I was just like this week. Let's just start with my weekly preach until I see a question. I was just this week, I don't know, I feel like in a really, really, really good place in my life, which is, I don't know, I really love it. I'm really proud of where I am as a person. And I feel really grounded and confident and have a lot of clarity and a lot of calm and peace. And most of it because I finally felt, after like being on this personal growth journey for 15 plus years, that I am finally able to truly regulate my emotions. And this sounds so simple, but it was such a journey to get here and to understand that the real thing that really helped me feel grounded, confident, clear, and okay with making mistakes or not being perfect or hurting people, etc., is emotion regulation. And this is such a was such an epiphany for me, and I feel it more and more also during my work and in my sessions, how much it is helping me. And like, it is the answer for me to everything that I was looking for in my life, which is insane how simple it is. And I see something coming in. Hey, Global, good to see you again. You told me last week that you were here because of the algorithm, so good to see you back. You say Northern Hemisphere, Earth, old man with long life of loving others. Well, welcome. It sounds good. A long life of loving others. Or not. But yeah, emotion regulation. It's like, maybe there are people who already knew this or don't know the depth of what I'm saying, but it's just like being able to regulate yourself, being able to understand what happens, to immediately understand what is being triggered, to immediately recognize your deficiency stories or these stories of unworthiness that are living inside of you, and just being able to witness it all and tolerate it and let it go, let it pass, is like The new rich. Emotion regulation is the new rich. Is a good title for a different video, maybe. You say there are many therapists going live recently. Oh, wow. Maybe it's in the air. I actually felt like I was a bit, it's interesting because I can imagine that it is, how do you say in English? That it is changing a bit because I felt myself very tired lately of social media, and especially all the information and all the uh, things and stuff that is being thrown at us, right? And also all the polarization and all the very intense conversations, etc. And I was just like noticing that I felt tired of creating and sending information. And I felt like it's more time to embody what we are learning. And so it's not that much about hoarding and gathering information, or maybe there is just enough information right now, but to just connect with each other and to just talk and ask questions, or think about better ways of being, living, whatever. And yeah, just be, it's a very simple way of being of service, I also think, going live, if there are any questions to answer, of course. So yeah, maybe it's like a little trend, or maybe it's in the air that a lot of people feel tired of consuming and creating and sending information, and it's more about getting together in community, finding each other, and yeah, just being of service. Well, that was my idea anyway. So I can imagine I'm not the only human being having this brain. So probably it's a different reaction. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a one-way communication to only watch TV or YouTube videos, right? Or social media in a way. And we can be more interactive if we go live. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And in the end, that is what we maybe also desire from social media. So to be social, right? And that's in the end also how it first started. But definitely, yeah. Yeah, Global says the world is in crisis and personal relationships are the same. Yeah. Yeah, and I also think that it's nice that we all feel that crisis, and it's going a bit insane. And it's like this tension is really felt when you're on social media and consuming all that information, and it's stressing you more than necessary. And when you have human interaction, that, or when you go out into the world and just talk to people, um, there is a lot less of the stress that we think there is, or there's a lot less of crisis or confusion than we think there is, and it's more human. And I think the desire for this human connection is growing in a way. And going live is a way of having that interaction. Yeah. Yeah. You say there are no rules today. To be banned from a channel is the same as in person. Mm. Yeah, tell me what you mean by that, or what your experience is. Yeah, as if the experience to be banned from a channel is the same as to be banned from groups or a social group in a way. If that is what you mean. Yeah. And I think that this is what I started also the live with, is that it's almost like we forget that we're all really, really human and really imperfect. And it sounds really cliche, but like, because we feel so much shame for who we truly are, and we really want to fit in to be safe, there's so much, when times get tougher, also that shame and that unsafety gets worse in a way. And there's so much um, hardening of the heart instead of finding connection and staying open. And there's so much fear and insecurities. Yeah, you say people are mistaken for a troll when communicating with words. Yeah, I understand what you mean. It's my experience that a lot of people are seeing the enemy outside of them in others, as if they are more afraid and more in fear and in stress. And because we are more in crisis and in fear and in stress in the world, and because of polarization and black and white thinking and wars, etc., we start to fear and distrust the outside world more, and we start to see more enemies in the outside world. This is also why the content around narcissism is huge at the moment, and really saying that person is bad and that person is good. So there's a lot of black and white thinking also, I think, because of the state of the world, and just the state of our consciousness and our minds and our emotional state at the moment. That was not a correct sentence, but I hope you understand. So I really see a lot of black and white thinking, and it's coming from a lot of relational unsafety and distrust, and also from, I always strongly believe that if you really see only enemies outside of you, then you are really afraid and distrustful of yourself too, in a way. Yeah. So the more you distrust the world around you, the more you fear to trust yourself and your intuition and your wisdom, etc. In a way. And I think that is what's happening right now. There's so much insecurity and so much happening and so much boiling and coming up and so much trauma and so much emotion, suppressed emotions coming up, and so much hurt and pain and grief that is brought to the light in a way from centuries and centuries of intergenerational trauma, that everybody is feeling that, doesn't know what to do with it, is projecting it, and is hoping to find relief in blaming someone, which never will happen. But it's all phases where people where people have to go through in their healing journey. But now we're also going through in our collective healing journey, I think, in a way. Then we hope to find relief collectively in blaming and in shaming and in pointing fingers in the end. But that is just a phase of the grief, right? In a way, the stage of the grief we're going through. And in the end, if that is being calmed down a little bit, we can sink deeper into the grief and in the healing, and then we feel like the tears, the real grief, the sadness, the emptiness, etc., the despair. You say channels also limit their audience to pay to play only. I haven't seen that, but I can imagine that it is happening. Yeah. And you also say global, you also say we're all a little broken and bounce off each other. Yeah, definitely. Because sometimes it's just easier to project our hurt onto others, right? In a way. I think I can take off my scarf now. Getting a bit warmer. But yeah, sometimes it's easier to project our hurt onto others, because it's a last attempt to, if we have a lot of grief inside of us because of intergenerational trauma, collective trauma, relational trauma, emotional unsafety, whatever, or just overall having a shitty, crappy childhood, we want to protect ourselves from that grief, and we suppress that grief inside of us, and we stuff it far away in our shadow chambers, and we create coping mechanisms to not ever feel that grief again from what happened to us in our childhood. And this could be a one-time big event or relational, emotional unsafety over a prolonged period of time, right? In a way. And the more we stuff that grief away, the more we forget it's there, and we mask it with coping mechanisms, but also with projections and surface emotions like anger, for example. And when our deepest grief or hurt is being triggered, it's easier to project it and to point fingers and to bounce off, what, as you say, each other, or to blame others for the pain you're feeling, or to project your pain on others while they are not really the cause of what you're truly feeling. And that is what is happening at this moment in time right now, because in the past, of course, a lot happened, like a lot of hurt and trauma, and collectively that is all coming to the light. And that means that also all our suppressed emotions and grief and hurt are coming to the light, in a way, collectively. And we're all trying to find a way with that grief, because we've never really felt it. We've never really sit with that hurt. And We only learned to suppress it and project it. Anyway, I'm going to read what you're saying. You say parents were selfish, not concerned for children as if in competition with. The child repeats throughout life. Parents taught independence by example, letting learn the hard way. Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely one way of raising children, right? It was, I don't know which time period it was, but there was this belief that this was the way to raise children. That was just collectively what we thought was the best way in that moment in time. And now we're realizing maybe that's not completely it. and I understand what you say with parents were selfish. I think in a way, as human beings, we're not aware of how much of a hidden agenda we have to let the outside world validate us and fill the grief and emptiness that we feel inside in a way. And there's a lot of, I always call it neediness, but I'm not sure if it's like in English the right word, but there's a lot of emotional neediness that people carry that they're not aware of, but that they are taking with them when they have children and project that onto their children in a way, in a sense. And it's this neediness, this emotional neediness from parents, for example, that make little children create false identities to fulfill those needs from their parents that they feel, because that's what we inherently do when we sense that our parents aren't happy, aren't able to meet our needs, etc. We create an identity to make sure that they feel good so that they are able to meet our needs, right? In a way. And I think that a lot of people aren't aware that they are acting from this neediness, from the hurt and the pain and the fact that their emotional, relational needs weren't met in childhood and by their community when they were little. And this is what we're projecting out into the world. I keep on saying it. And this is when we start to blame others, point fingers, when we start to hold others accountable for meeting our needs, when we start to make others responsible for our well-being, etc. And this is where we give our power away in a way, and our worthiness, when we give our worthiness away. I can talk about this for hours. I'm just going to check the chat. So. You say understanding does not come from outside ourselves. Yeah. I think so. I think, well, as little children, we need to learn from the outside world first, right? But if the outside world is so emotionally dysregulated, and if the outside world is so traumatized and emotionally immature, or not being able to see us as little children fully, because they are so acting out of their own unmet needs and projecting that onto you, then the mirroring that we get and the creation of a sense of self goes through that lens of the traumatized, emotionally immature people. So we aren't learning the right things completely. But I think this is like a very evolutionary generational process, because this is the only way we can learn, right? In a way. So we have to learn how can we be the most objective mirror for our children, for the next generations, so that they can grow and learn from us, but also so that they can create a healthy sense of self and dare to trust the truth that is living inside of them, and dare to trust their intuition and their wisdom in a way, so that they can become even more, yeah, how do you say that? Human, a better human, maybe. A human that does not want to create wars, that does not want to rely solely on capitalism to survive, etc., etc. A human that dares to not need all the time. A human that dares to stand on its own, that can regulate its emotions, that is able to relate healthily and not project, take its responsibility. And a human that dares to live with a little bit less so that the rest of the world can have as much as they have, etc. We really need to learn that through others, but we can only do that if we learn to regulate our emotions. I come with it again. I started this life with emotion regulation and learn some relational intelligence also. There goes my voice. So emotion regulation, relational intelligence, but also to really create this deep sense of trust that who we are and what we have, that it is enough. And that what we need, we can find inside, in a way. Take some tea for my voice. As I said, I already had some like 9 or 10 sessions today, so talking a lot. Private sessions. So I see some more people watching. Are there any questions around awakening, healing, transformation, your personal journey? Maybe you want to share who you are, where you're from, or what you're doing here, or where you're at in your healing journey. And if not, that's completely fine. I just said at the beginning, like, I'm going to wait for 10 to 15 minutes if there are any questions. And if not, we can close it up for today. But of course, we can have some nice conversations in between. Global says there are different length videos YouTube allows creators to make. Oh, I really don't know about that, actually. As in, I've never had like a message or a notification that my video is too long or too short or anything. But yeah, tell me why you're thinking about that. I was just at the beginning starting the live with talking about how in my life I after been on this journey for 15 years, how much I now realize that a lot of the seeking and a lot of the personal growth I was on and a lot of the desires that I had, it all helped me so much to learn how to regulate my emotions. I grew in confidence immensely when I learned how to do that. I see some things in the chat again. Yeah, Global says people collect an audience with different length videos. Long videos are ignored. People have a short attention span. Yeah, definitely. And lately, there's a short attention span. But there's also so much information available. There's so much information available, and it's all so cognitive, right? In the end, the body needs time to embody. The body needs time to absorb and to really understand what all the information is about and what you can do with it, etc. But yeah, definitely our attention span is shorter, I think. Yeah, it's like a little addiction, right? All the short impulses and the swiping and the scrolling through TikTok and YouTube shorts and whatever. It's like a little addiction anyway. And it's interesting because I think the biggest growth for me happened when I was off social media for like 5 months or something. If I'm just only talking about personal growth, like when I stopped reading the books, when I stopped absorbing all the information, when I stopped trying to do and be something, etc., and then I just dropped it because I was so tired of it. And then a lot of big changes happened in my life, which was very interesting. So yeah, definitely if you're feeling like you're absorbing too much of the information and not really feeling anything or not really creating any change, or just feeling overwhelmed by all the information, by all the crises that you see, or is it crises? I'm not sure. That you see on social media and the polarization and the stress, like let it go. Like like the most important things you will hear anyway, what is happening in the world. Just let it go for a couple of weeks and just drop it and create some peace and silence again, so that you can hear your own voice again, and your own intuition and your own preferences, needs, desires, your own ideas. Because consuming all this information and all this stress every day, it's killing creativity, it's killing life force energy, it's killing your joy in a way. But yeah, that global, that was not exactly what you said, but I think you know me by now. Give me a theme and I will just start talking. So last couple of minutes, if anyone has a question or not. Otherwise, let's close off for today. It's been a long day for me. But don't feel hesitant. Please ask your question if you have it. Could be your personal situation or more a global theme, or maybe you just want to share something. And otherwise, we're going to have a little nice, cozy evening here in Europe in the cold. Please save us. No, I cannot complain. There are people who like the cold, which is nice. Okay, good. Then, global, thank you for being here and interacting. And then, yeah, be back next time. Probably not every week, because I will be traveling again the upcoming months. But yeah, let's check in maybe once a month or once or twice a month. And feel free to ask your questions below any of my other videos. And if you were new here, then please subscribe and share that we have these live free walk-in Q&As, consultations for people who are on the healing journey and who wish to have some support. Good. Okay. Thank you all and have a nice evening.